From these exit polls, it's showing that Donald Trump is doing 14 points better with black men. This is something that people have been talking about for a couple of months.
And this may be a chaos or an angry vote, putting Donald Trump into office if that's what ends up happening. But it also represents something that we can't just continue to ignore. The time for shaming men and just calling them names, disregarding how they feel, undermining men, I think those days are over.
Even though we know something could change tonight, Donald Trump is outperforming 2020, and we did not see that in the polls, and a lot of Democrats are surprised. What explains this?
Ain't that what I just said?
I think what is very clear to a lot of Democrats who are texting me is that Donald Trump is still governed by a different set of rules. Coming out of the Madison Square Garden rally, most people thought that surely he had ruined his chances, that this was such a bigoted, misogynistic, xenophobic event that Latinos and other people would be turned off completely. And what we're seeing is that's not true for some folks, maybe for a lot of people. And that's a big surprise. And I think it has a lot to do with your point, or to your point, it has a lot to do with our media environments, the places where we're getting our news from.
Yeah, well, you know,
the media has been telling half-truths and deceiving us, both sides, but especially the left side. And we got ate up on TikTok when I said the same thing too. But it's true. People are legitimately, like the guy just said earlier, they're legitimately like, well, what happened? I thought that this was a landslide. He even mentioned about, you know, the Hitler followers, you know, over at the Madison Square Garden rally with Donald Trump. None of that stuff was true. And I'm not trying to cape for Donald Trump, but it's like, we shouldn't be surprised that this reality is hitting people in the face, because they've been consuming months, if not years, of echo chamber media. And this is the problem. And we did a whole video on this, right? We talked about how this fuels conspiracy theory, because once you go over to another news source and you find out there's a whole treasure trove of other information, it makes people not trust mainstream media, and they become more invested in conspiracy.
Yeah.
Let's listen in, because the brother was cooking for a second there, but it's exactly what I just said.
Okay, this is a healthy debate. I want to bring in Chris Mowry, who's joining us from Georgia. Chris, you know, you're a TikTok creator. Exits so far show that former President Trump actually gained 3 points among voters under the age of 30. Exit polls, not a final vote, but what do you think is drawing young people to Trump?
Yeah, I think that, you know, obviously this election, we see a lot more Gen Zers who can vote. And I'm under the position that, you know, I'm 22 years old, but with people younger than me, 18, 19, or 20, this straight white male demographic for the Democrat Party has been challenging. I think that, you know, kids walk into school and they see a lot about Black Lives Matter or LGBTQ plus issues or women issues. And a lot of straight white males are successfully being what I call red pilled on the internet. Where education isn't going far enough to explain that we are a very privileged group in society.
Dude, so, this is exactly what I've been saying.
They tend to lean conservative, lean toward this kind of Andrew Tate demographic. And so I kind of predicted that Donald Trump would pick up a few points there.
Thank you so much. Brian, do we get points for using the phrase red pilled?
Yes. And
they better wake up, but you know what's going to happen? They're going to attack people like us after this,
thank
DK.
You to all our contributors. And we're not done with this thing yet. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more.
Guys, this is exactly what I've been saying. People do not understand what's going on, and the world is shifting. There's been a legitimate counter reaction to liberalism and feminism. And I think that one side of the world has been like, well, those are just a bunch of misogynistic, you know, crazy guys. And to be honest, I think that there's going to be a significant backlash, and they're going to come after folks like our channels that want to try to get men in healthy mindsets, that tell men that they're valued by God. I think that they're going to come after folks like this, because they're going to lay the loss of this election not on bad policy, not on diversity quotas and things that don't move the metric scale. They're going to put the blame squarely on the backs of men and people who don't agree with this new world order of alternative lifestyles and, you know, child deletion on demand and everything else that can't counter God. And they want to just lump us all into the garbage truck and the deplorables of Donald Trump. But that's not it. It's more to it than that.
Right now, from these exit polls, it's showing that Donald Trump is doing 14 points better with black men. This is something that people have been talking about for a couple of months. Were black men going harder for Donald Trump than in the past? And right now, it looks like in Pennsylvania, that is the case. That could be a difference maker in Philadelphia, Brian.
Black men keep coming up in every single. We're looking at 3 or 4 different news stations, and they keep talking about something's happening with black men. Is this not what we've been saying for like the last 4 years or so?
Kings. Listen, and like I said, man, I know Trump ain't everything. He's not what we need as Christians. But to be honest, and it's not the Republican Party, it's not him, but what I can't stand is not Harris. I can't stand the Democratic Party right now. I'm sorry. That's like if Shapiro was running, I probably would have voted for Shapiro. That's the sad part.
But Shapiro is pro child deletion. Shapiro is pro, alternative lifestyle. What's the difference?
But he is a little bit different when it comes to Harris. He's not as far left as she is. I think for most black men are just men or just people who's in the middle period, that if you look at her policies, she's so far left that you can't even, for me, I can't even, there's no way I can vote for her. That's what I'm saying. Like, I voted for Obama. I voted for Clinton.
It's because she's a woman. Just say it.
I voted for Patty Kim. I love Patty Kim.
It's because she's a black woman.
Patty Kim is an Asian woman like she is. You know what I mean? And she's a Democrat. I love Patty Kim. Oh, it's good. You know what I mean? A lot of my, I'm sure some of you guys watching on here who ran for office. I voted for Shane. I voted for Tom. I voted for you guys. You guys are part of the Democratic Party. So it's not the party per se, but it's not in the local level. I love you guys in the local level, but we get to these higher ups, man. They just say stuff they don't do. Tom does what he's supposed to do. Shane does what he's supposed to do. You know what I mean? Harvick does what he's supposed to do. You know what I mean? I talk to you guys on the phone. I know you guys do what you're supposed to do, but I'm talking about when we get up. You know what I mean? It just doesn't add up to me. But I thank you guys for what you do, and I appreciate it. But I can't do Harris.
Grown man boss. Something you got to deal with.
What do you say to the women out there who are upset, afraid that black men are going in a different direction? What do you say to women of all races that feel that men are going in a different direction?
I mean, like we always say, men got options. Just like y'all got options, y'all can't count us out. You know what I mean? Y'all can't put us on a clearance aisle and say we just gotta follow the, you know what I mean, the status quo. You know what I mean? We got ideas. We got, you know what I mean? We're going to make our own decisions, and regardless of what our decisions are, you know what I mean? Just like y'all can make yours, y'all gotta respect ours. Y'all want to have choice, but y'all don't want us to have choice. You know what I mean? Like I said, I still can't get over the lady asking me, "Is your mom black?" Like, that bothers me to my core. You know what I mean? But it's all good.
I think that we need to have an awakening in our country. I think God is trying to get men to wake up, but unfortunately, Satan also has a message for them. That devolves into misogyny and things like that. But I don't think that's the main issue we're dealing with here. I think that God wants men's voices back, and he wants black men's voices to be back and prominent. And as a result, this is something that's flooding over into the election. We talk so much about the gender war, where men feel like they are becoming backseat drivers in their own purpose. And I think that's beginning to resonate a lot. And this may be a chaos or an angry vote, putting Donald Trump into office if that's what ends up happening. But it also represents something that we can't just continue to ignore. The time for shaming men and just calling them names, disregarding how they feel, undermining men, I think those days are over.